The corridor was nearly silent, emptied after the late lecture, just the faint hum of old lights and the soft echo of two pairs of footsteps. You walked beside Professor Jungkook, holding a thick stack of graded assignments pressed to your chest. He had asked you to place them on his office desk. His coat brushed lightly against your sleeve every footsteps. He didn't speak, he rarely did, but there was something about his silence tonight, tense, almost intimate, as though each unsaid word breathed in the narrow hallway. You adjusted the stack in your arms, suppressing a grunt at the weight he noticed. His eyes flickered, briefly dark, in, unreadable before he muttered under his breath. Careful, those papers matter more than half the students in this department. A faint smile tugged at your lips, a compliment buried under an insult. Classic Jungkook. I'll protect them with my life, Professor. He exhaled softly, the closest thing he ever had to a laugh. Good. At least one person around here understands what responsibility looks like. It was a simple line, but it thrummed through your chest because everyone knew what he meant. He trusted you. He relied on you more than he had ever admitted. You kept walking your shoulder, almost brushing his. You could feel his gaze lingering on you for a second too long, but behind you, someone else was watching Sabrina. Her heels clicked sharply against the floor, echoing like a warning signal. She stood near the corner of the hallway, arms crossed, lips curved into a smile that was far too sweet to be real. Her eyes swept over you, holding the assignments with him, and something bitter flared in her expression. You felt it. Jungkook felt it too, his posture stiffened almost imperceptibly. He detested unnecessary social theatrics, and Sabrina thrived on them. As you and Jungkook approached, she pushed off the wall, her voice dripping with manufactured innocence. Oh, Professor, staying late and wine still assisting you? She tilted her head, widening her eyes. Must be nice having a personal favorite. Jungkook's jaw tightened. Yours did too. Miss Sabrina, this is called academic responsibility. You should try it sometime. The girl blinked, stunned, but recovered with a plastic smile. Of course, Professor, I only meant wine gets special opportunities. Her gaze cut toward the papers in your arms, calculating sharp. Imagine if something went wrong, wouldn't want anyone thinking she's trying to get attention. You froze. It was a strange thing to say, a strangely specific thing to say. Jungkook's eyes flicked to yours as if searching for something he couldn't name, but he didn't comment, not yet. He simply stepped forward. He stood, I see. If anything goes wrong with these papers, Miss Sabrina, I doubt wine will be the culprit. That was the thing about him. Cold, blunt, unapologetically logical. His faith in you was subtle but unmistakable. Sabrina's smile stretched thinner, her nails stuck into her own arms, her eyes glinted with something dangerous. You had no idea then, but that single moment, that single jealous glare was the first domino. The beginning of the quiet was tearing storm. Jungkook locked his office behind him as he walked you out, leaving the stack of assignments on his desk perfectly arranged by your hands, alphabetized and colored tab just the way he preferred. He trusted the order, he trusted you, but the moment your footsteps faded down the hallway, someone else doubled back. Her presence slittered through the corridor like a whisper of perfume and malice. She glanced both ways, ensuring the building was mostly empty, then walked straight toward Jungkook's office door. Her lips curled, the weakness. The cleaning staff unlocks faculty rooms exactly at 7:30 p.m. Jungkook had left at 7:32, barely 2 minutes into vulnerable territory. Right on schedule, the janitor rounded the corner, keys jingling. Sir, I think I left my notebook in Professor Jungkook's office. Could you kindly unlock it? Her voice was warm, honey, her smile pure sugar, and like most people, he bought it. The door clicked open. The moment she stepped inside, her sweet expression melted off her face like wax under a flame. Inside Jungkook's office, the lamp cast a soft amber glow over the room. His meticulously arranged desk, his sketches of research graphs pinned to a cardboard, and in the center, the stack of assignments you arranged with military precision. Sabrina approached them with the slow relish of someone about to enjoy her own cruelty. She lifted the first set gently, then her smile sharpened. Perfect little wine, let's see how perfect you look when the professor thinks you are desperate for his attention. She disrupts the grading sequence. Pulling middle papers to the top, showing the last ones in the wrong section. She scribbles a rude comment on one assignment. In ugly handwriting, she writes something that looks rushed, immature. Professor, students like this waste your time. And signs it, Wine. The signature is almost accurate, but not enough for a handwriting expert, only enough for assumption. Only enough to ignite suspicion. Her laugh is quite hollow. Next, she replaces three graded papers with blank sheets, perfectly aligned so it looks like you forgot to file complete work. And finally, her favorite piece, she takes a sticky note, folds it twice, and writes, I organized these all by myself. Hope you noticed. Wine, childish, clingy, attention seeking, exactly the impression she wants. She sticks it right beneath the top paper, then steps back, admiring her work like an artist finishing a masterpiece of destruction. Sabrina stands in the doorway, the lights behind her casting her shadow long across the room. She murmurs under her breath, let's see you smile now. Wine, I dare you. She closes the door silently behind her and like a spark drifting toward gasoline. The sabotage waits patiently for morning for Jungkook for the explosion. The lecture hall burst softly as students shuffled in, unaware of the quiet storm building behind Professor Jungkook's eyes. He sat at his desk, flipping through the stack of assignments, your perfectly arranged pile, now a mangled disaster under Sabrina's sabotage. He stopped, his hand tightened, a muscle in his jaw twitched, a telltale sign he was furious, then his eyes lifted. Straight to you. You stiffened under the weight of his stare. He stood, Miss Wine, a word. Every head in the room turned. You swallowed and stepped closer. Yes, Professor. He held up one of the pages out of order scribbled range. I trusted you with something simple, yet this cues is what I returned to. You stared, confused. Your heartbeat hammered in your ears. Professor, I Chungu cut you off, voice lasting through the hall. If you needed my attention, you didn't have to sabotage your classmates' work. Attention seeking behavior doesn't suit you. A wave of whispers rolled across the room. Someone snickered, another muttered, Wow, your chest tightened painfully. I didn't do this, I won't. Apparently, I don't know you as well as I thought. The words were colder than the insult. Your throat burned, not because of the scolding, but because he believed it, because he didn't even question it privately, because he didn't trust you, not even enough to ask. You stepped back, voice barely steady. Noted, Professor, you took your seat. Your hands shook, but your expression stayed flat, dignified, despite your humiliation. For the rest of the lecture, you didn't look at him once. And he noticed every single time. The next day, you walked into class without your usual punctuality, no polite greeting, no quiet smile, no good morning, professor, just silent, calculated distance. You sat in the back instead of the front. When he asked questions, your hand stayed still. When he scanned the room for your eyes, you stared at your notebook. When he spoke directly to you, Miss Wine, your input, you simply replied, pass. His brows pulled together. He hated that. He hated that word from you. He asked you to stay after class, Miss Wine. Remain seated. We need to dis. You stood, collected your bag, and walked past him without looking up. I have nothing to discuss, sir. His fingers curled around the edge of the desk, knuckles white cold. Professor Jungkook, the man who could intimidate an entire department, was suddenly powerless against one thing he could not command your silence, and it burned him. Every day, more than an insult possibly could, the departmental office was nearly empty when Jungkook walked in. Only the hum of the vending machine and the faint scratching of Mr. Hand's pen filled the air. The corridor outside was dim, lights flickering on motion sensors. It should have been serene. But for Jungkook, it wasn't. Your silence had followed him everywhere for the past 2 days, into lectures, into meetings, into the quiet of his home. It settled on his shoulders like a ghost, cold and heavy and accusing, and he hated it. Hated how deeply he felt the absence of your voice, your eyes, your presence. Mr. Han didn't notice the professor's storming expression. He was busy sorting forms. Professor Joan, your room 302 access log, the one you asked about earlier. Chunguk paused mid step. He hadn't asked for any logs, but somehow the TA had heard that Chunguk hadn't dared to say a word. Bring it here. His voice was cold, clipped, low, the voice he used when he stood on the edge of losing control. Mr. Han hurriedly handed over the clipboard. Chunguk flipped to the last page. Your name appeared first. Wine, 6:55 p.m., clean handwriting, precise. The same handwriting he had complimented once offhandedly before swallowing the words as if they were too soft for him. Then his eyes dropped and froze. Sabrina Choi's 7:34 p.m. A slow near stillness spread through him. This time stamp is accurate. Mr. Han nodded, pushing his glasses up. Yes, sir, very. The cleaning staff unlocked the faculty floors at 7:30 p.m. See their initials here, JS and KL. Chunguk followed the written initials with his eyes. JS hallway unlocked 7:30, KL floor check 7:30. Perfectly aligned, Mr. Han noted. And according to the building log, you left that department at 7:32 p.m. The clipboard felt heavy in Chungkook's hand because that meant Sabrina entered the room 2 minutes after he left. 2 minutes after he accused you without a second thought. 2 minutes after he humiliated you, Mr. Han scratched his head. She said she forgot her book in your desk, but I thought it was odd. Jungkook lifted his eyes sharply. Odd. How? Mr. Han lowered his voice as if afraid the fluorescent lights might overhear. When he checked the hallway camera's routine check, she wasn't holding book. She had a folder in her hands, a thick one, and something inside. Jungkook shattered. The memory stabbed him. You standing before him in class, eyes wide, voice trembling as he whispered, Professor, I didn't do this. Why would I sabotage anything? But he didn't let you finish, did he? He silenced you, accused you, called you something that had visibly broken you. A desperate attention seeker. The words echoed venomous. Mr. Han watched him nervously. Sir, is there a problem with the assignments? Jungkook lowered the clipboard slowly, his expression controlled, freezing, level, was the same expression he wore right before destroying someone's academic career. There is a problem. He stepped closer to the TA, voice dropping into a whisper so cold it felt like winter. And it is a far bigger problem than you realize. Mr. Han blinked, Professor, but Jungkook wasn't listening anymore. His mind was running at a brutal speed. Your handwriting, neat, symmetrical, the scribbles he found messy, rushed, the blank sheets in the middle, the sarcastic comment written on the margin, nothing like your tone. The order of papers disrupted in a way you would never allow. And above all, the look on your face when he called you out: shock, hurt, humiliation, and then something worse: silence, cold, decisive. Silence. He had watched you shrink into your seat as the class snickered, watched you avoid his gaze for the first time ever, watched you leave the room with your head lowered, and most of all, he had watched himself do nothing to stop it. Jungkook swallowed the burn in his throat. Not guilt, not regret, something deeper, more destructive. He handed the clipboard back with a stiff, controlled motion. Thank you, Mr. Han. He turned around. His steps were sharp, echoing, not walking, not fleeing, hunting. Because of the first time since the incident, Jungkook felt something he never let himself feel: panic. Panic that he might have broken the one student he trusted, the one person whose presence steadied him, the one pair of eyes he searched for in every room. Your silence was no longer punishment, it was proof of how deeply he had wounded you, and he couldn't breathe past it. The following morning arrives colder than the weather itself. Rain clings to the edges of the windows. The corridor smells faint of old paper, and the entire department feels muted as if it already senses a storm about to break. You walk into the building early, as you always used to, but there is one difference: you don't even look toward his office door. Your footsteps are crisp, your posture is composed, your expression is unreadable. The silence around you is deliberate, a wall you built carefully overnight. Inside his office, Jungkook is seated at his desk, staring at the logs Mr. Han sent him at dawn. A tight muscle jumps in his jaw as he studies the timestamps. 7:30 p.m. Professor John Jungkook exists. 7:32 p.m. room unlocked by cleaning staff. 7:34 p.m. someone re-enters using manual override access. He whispers under his breath, "Damn it." The guilt gnaws at him harder than he expected. He leans back, rubbing a hand over his face, a rare display of vulnerability for someone so controlled. I misjudged her. His pride tastes bitter, his regret tastes worse. You take your usual seat, middle row, but today you don't glance at him. Not once. When he walks in, the room straightens instantly. He looks imposing: black shirt, roll sleeves, a gaze sharp enough to cut glass. But the moment he looks at you, his confidence collapses a little. You don't look back. He clears his throat as if steadying himself. Good morning. You keep your eyes on your notebook, not even a note, not even the smallest acknowledgement. He begins lecturing, but his rhythm is off. His voice hesitates, his hand pauses midair when he writes on the board. He keeps glancing at you every single minute, and every time you deny him the one thing he never had to ask for before: your attention. Halfway through the lecture, he finally breaks. Miss Vine, translate the third line. You don't look up. No, sir. The class snaps their heads toward you. No one has ever said no to him. His throat tightens. Excuse me? I didn't raise my hand. I prefer not to speak. You lift your pen again, dismissing him like he's just another instructor, not the man whose approval once means something to you. He freezes, his fingers curl against the desk. You can see the tension in his forearm. He's not used to being ignored, especially not by you. The hallway smelled faintly of wet cement the evening. Rain outside, still tapping softly against the tall glass windows. Shadows from the lamplight stretched long and sharp across the walls. You were walking briskly, mind preoccupied with notes, when a shadow detached itself from the wall. Jungkook, he was leaning against the doorway, arms crossed, eyes dark with that strong mixture of guilt and frustration that only he could carry so effortlessly. Wine, wait, you didn't stop, you didn't look up, you had already decided nothing, he sat. Not after the last humiliation could earn your attention freely. Jungkook took a step closer, his voice sharper now, but strained. I need to speak to you, please. You finally stopped, deliberately slow, dragging your gaze over him without warmth. Make it quick, I don't have time for lectures. The air between you was electric. Students were long gone, the hallway was yours and his alone. I found out about Sabrina, about what really happened to the papers. You found out, you mean? It took humiliating me, publicly ignoring my explanations, watching me wither silently before your precious ego finally realized someone else was behind it. His jaw clenched. The words hit him harder than he expected. Wine, I am. No, stop. He stepped closer, voice dropping sharper. Do you know what this is called? Respect. I respected you. I didn't insult you back when you called me an attention seeker in front of everyone. Even though I could have shattered you with words. You think that deserves an apology from me? No. Take it as a thanks from God that I didn't humiliate you back. That's the only mercy you are getting. Jungkook's chest rose and fell faster than usual. His cold mask flickered for the briefest moment, the vulnerability of realizing he had almost lost your respect. Wine, I have self-respect, something you apparently forgot to respect in me when you believed the lies. When you ruined my reputation publicly, I'm not here for your regrets or apologies. I'm here because I'm stronger than your ego allows you to see. She wasn't just angry, she wasn't just hurt, she was untouchable now, a berry fought in betrayal and quiet dignity. Jungkook's fists flexed at his sides. He wanted to say something, anything, but the words felt useless against the wall of composure you had built. Now, if you will excuse me, Professor, I have work to do, and I suggest you reflect on why your students fear losing respect for you more than feeling your classes. You turned on your heel, walked away with the echo of your heels sounding like judgment in the empty hallway. Jungkook stayed where he was, jaw tight, mind whirling, realizing he had pushed the wrong person too far. For the first time, he understood fully that respect once broken could not simply be begged for, and you are untouchable.